Hey everyone, welcome to Alice is Missing on Mythic Journeys. I'm really excited to play this for a new group of people. This is my 20th something time running it, and it's fantastic. There's a new expansion that came out, and none of these players have played Alice before. So we are going to do the expansion another time and stick with the original characters and locations and NPC suspects. Because Twitch does not uh, work well with streaming music, and the game is a music-based game when it comes down to the texting portion of it. There's a link to the soundtrack that is played on YouTube on screen there below me. The game is a 90-minute game of texting between high school students who are all friends of Alice Briarwood. I'll be playing the character Charlie, who's the friend who moved away. Each of the characters has a overarching archetype. So I'll be playing that guy who moved out of town. We were all good friends. We're going to start out by doing some world building, figuring out who our characters are, our relationships, what the town is like, and then the 90 minutes of game is just text, and that'll be up on screen. Let me set the scene. And after that, we will decide on the characters and then come up with the rest of the town. Silent Falls. It's a small coastal forest town in the heart of Northern California. It's quiet here. And since the recession a few years ago, people are not as friendly as they used to be. It's been a rough few years for everyone. The major high school in town, Franklin Academy, lies nestled in the wooded hills on the east side. It's the last day before winter break, and students shuffle down the hallways, dusting off a light powder of snow from their jackets. It's cold today. Down the main corridor, past the barren trophy case and peeling Franklin Academy decal plastered on the wall, hangs a bulletin board. A cluster of students are gathered at it, and around the edges we see old posters for student body elections, sign-ups for football next year, and reminders about the upcoming senior ball littered about like mousetraps. But as the camera moves forward and the students part, we land on the flyer they're all huddled around. Alice is missing. This is our Alice here. Alice Briarwood, 16 years old, missing since December 19th. It was Wednesday. It's Saturday now. And the first thing we're going to do is develop the characters. Take a look at the characters we have at the bottom. I'll be Charlie Barnes, the woman with the neon purple hair. Dakota Travis is Alice's best friend. Evan Howell is the ex-boyfriend. Jack Briarwood is Alice's older brother. Julia North is Alice's secret girlfriend. So, do any of those sound particularly interesting to any of you?
I actually like Jack Briarwood, if you guys are okay with that, the older brother.
I'll play Julia.
Okay. So, Richard, do you want to play Alice's best friend or the one with a crush on her?
I'm going to go with best friend.
Okay. Above the characters there, you should see a background, voicemail, and secret. The background is the background question that you're going to sort of answer about your character. The voicemail is going to be the prompt that you use to record your voicemail at the end of the world building part. And the secret is something that you're going to make up for yourself. You can do that ahead of time or later, but yes, it's a secret, but there's no point in having a secret if it never comes out. So sometime in the game, try to make that known, at least to one other person, if not the entire group chat. So we talked about our lines and veils earlier. For folks out there who don't know lines and veils, a line is a topic that's not going to come up. A veil is something that is okay if it comes up as long as we don't focus on it. So fade to black or cut away. Our lines are sexual violence, torture, uh, discrimination, isms. So those aren't going to be part of the game. And veils, if they come up, not that they will necessarily, those would be romantic relationships, substance use, drug use, and suicide. On the right, you should all see motivation as well. That's just a role-playing prompt that you can use if you want. Throughout the 90 minutes, we're going to get prompts every 10 or 15 minutes or so, and it's going to give us a person or a place that we've come up with and a question to answer about it. So, like, you get a missed call on your cell phone from Mr. Halvert or the popular kid in school, uh, David. And then it'll give you a prompt like, so you got this voicemail. What did they say that makes you think they know something about Alice? And you're just going to make it up. You don't have to jump in and say it immediately. Take your time to think about it a little bit, then feed it into the chat naturally. They come up every, 10 minutes or so on average. So you've got plenty of time before someone else gets another prompt. So no pressure. The only restrictions on what to add is don't include Alice's cell phone or car, because those may or may not come up later in the game. But other than that, you've got free reign to describe uh, whatever you want for it. The only other restriction really is that if we decide to do something other than just text on our phones from our bedrooms and go somewhere, that's fine. It's the game's played in real time. It's going to take a little while to get from point A to point B. So, we don't have to be strict about that, but keep that in mind. Don't just say like, "Oh, I'm at school now." You've got to get on your bike. You got to drive there. You got to catch a cab, whatever. And if two people want to go to the same place, that's fine, but we just need to have some sort of narrative reason why they don't meet. Why wouldn't the game just stop and you like you're not going to keep texting each other in person? So if you have two people going to the school together, maybe someone's looking at the locker rooms in the football field, and someone else is inside the main building at the Alice's homeroom. Yeah, but other than that, make up whatever you want for your answers to the cards and feed it in the chat. So for the notes section, if you want to take notes on your character or us, you can click back from Lines and Veils to My Character Notes and Friends and Relationships. Friends and Relationships has something for all of us here, so you can take notes on Charlie and Alice there if you want to take that now. So I will start with the first background. What kind of teenager is Alice? Then we're going to go around and everyone's going to have a chance to ask me another question about what more they want to know about Charlie or Alice. So Alice lives dangerously for a high school student. She is a skater after school. She's always going to the skate park. She is the queen of rollerblading. Not a lot of people do that anymore. All these people on skateboards and razors, but she has an old pair of rollerblades and she just shreds. And it is a great way for her to let off steam because she's not doing very well in school. It's frustrating. We're going to get to Jack and how that affects her home life if it does, and if she or Jack is the better student. But Alice is struggling in history. She wants to live in the present, and all these old stuffy historical facts are just not her thing. She prefers PE, but it's also sort of structured, and they have to you know play this game for this month, and you know take tests on the rules and the history of those games, and she barely scrapes by studying for those. But that's much more her speed. Um, she and Charlie know each other because he had been uh, a student tutor for her when she wanted to get a little better at biology. We are in 10th grade, and he's got a knack for biology. Alice's guidance counselor realized that you know Alice needed to keep her GPA up, and if the easiest way to do that would to be improving biology. It certainly wasn't her worst subject, history was, but it would be much harder for her to raise that F to a C than to raise her D to a B in bio. And so that's how Charlie and Alice connected. Um, she helped her out for a couple of months at the end of last school year. So when we were freshmen, spring semester, Charlie helped Alice pull her grade up to actually a B plus. And they did well in the final. Charlie aced it. Then there was summer, which was, you know, great. Summer break. Everyone's happy. But Charlie's mom and dad were going through something. They divorced, and Charlie and her mom moved for her mom's work. Um, Mom's a corporate lawyer and was able to get a job at another one of the headquarters in another state. So Charlie had to move away. And it's been all summer and first semester, and Charlie is coming back for winter break to reconnect with her friends and stay with her dad for a couple weeks. And I'll leave it at that for Charlie and Alice. Dakota, what's something more you'd like to know about either or both of us?
What kind of high school social life did Alice and Charlie have? Kids care about popularity a lot.
Yeah. Um, so Alice was not one of the, popular kids in particular. Among her skater friends, definitely good girl. Everyone liked her, but that was a sort of smaller subsection of the student body. Charlie was, not one of her friends from the park and a little more connected with, the rest of school socially, but, you know, sort of nerdy and not in with the most popular kids herself. I think in terms of the social strata, let's keep it classic. The football jocks are the top of the tier there. The prom king and queen are always the most popular sports players and the most beautiful girls. Um, and it's a real queen bee sort of vibe from them. Anything more you wanted to know about that?
How much of the social hierarchy here at our school is based on money?
Oh, um, it's been a rough few years for everyone,
Hmm.
and the social hierarchy had been pretty intertwined with finances, and people are trying to cling to that, but it's getting sort of muddied as some of the uh, wealthier and most popular kids have lost a lot of wealth, and they're trying to sort of hang on to the social status just by having had that in the past. And people are sort of reevaluating where each other really should be, but they still try to have a big party if someone can afford to throw something. People are doing that less and less and less. Only, a couple a year,
Uh,
like a couple school wide.
how much of our social lives takes place in the outdoors? Like the kids like to party out by whatever, a
Um,
disused place out in the woods.
if you skip over to the Hunches and Evidence tab, you can see some of these out of the way places. The lighthouse on the Howling Sea Cliffs, not
Ah,
particularly quiet, the Howling Cliffs, um,
mhm.
but the old barn on Cambridge Street, the Callisto Rivers State Park, those are definitely party spots if people are looking for quiet places. The Silent Falls train station and the Dripping Dagger nightclub are the other two places in the city that we'll be expanding on. So let's flesh out the Callisto River State Park a little bit, where a lot of the parties have moved to. Instead of someone having a party at their house, they are going to save money on, hosting it and just not actually rent a camp space, but there are a couple of big areas in the park that the kids gather at. They can have a cool party out for little no money, gas money to get out there, and whatever people bring.
Hmm.
And we'll come back to Callisto Rivers State Park when we do the locations, because there's something we want to do for each of the locations and each of the suspects is to give them like a little twist. What makes them particularly creepy places? And why might each of these people actually have a motivation to be the person who is responsible for Alice being missing? We don't just want like, oh hey, David's a popular kid. Let's describe a popular kid. We want a popular kid who's got a reason to kidnap another student. So we'll do that for Callisto State Park later. How about Jack or Julia? Do you have other questions for Charlie or Alice too?
I do. So I have a couple. I guess one question per each. What are your guys' ambitions after high school, just to get a better idea of the character?
Charlie wants to go to Stanford, stay in California. Alice wants to get as far away as possible. Probably not going to college. She's gonna apply wherever. If we skip forward 2 years, it'll probably just be a you know mad dash to apply for whatever colleges she can get into on the other side of the country, or the middle of the country, or Southern California, somewhere away. And she would just like take whatever. And if college applications doesn't get anywhere, that's fine. That's what the train station is for. She would probably lie to her parents and say she got in somewhere and hit the road.
One more question is like, how did you guys maintain a relationship, and did it like depreciate?
We'll figure out how Alice and the rest of you know each other when you do your introductions too. But I think Alice introduced Charlie to the rest of you because the tutoring thing went well. We clicked as friends. Through that, Charlie met you all, and we've all kept in touch. Even though Charlie moved away, we still chat now and again, more over the summer when there wasn't anything else, no school to take up uh, all day every day. I don't know if people had summer jobs or they work after school, but we've been in touch less and less this first fall semester of the next year. So yeah, Alice and Charlie clicked as friends from the tutoring, and Charlie got involved with the rest of you through Alice. Julie,
My question is, did Alice know that you were coming back? Like, was this pre-planned or was this more like a surprise kind of visit?
I like that. It was a surprise.
Mm.
Yeah, totally. You know how I said games change all the time? I have never had this be a surprise visit in the 20 something games.
There you
Uh,
go.
yeah, yeah, nice. Thank you.
So then, follow-up question to that is, when did Charlie start planning to come back and visit? Was it like
um,
a last minute decision or
no, Charlie's been planning this since before the Thanksgiving break. He'd sort of put the idea out in his mom's mind, mentioning missing dad, and that sort of frustrated her, but she's a caring mother and wanted to make sure that Charlie was able to spend time with her dad. And so it wasn't that hard to, convince her to let me go back to Silent Falls. How long the trip there was going to be, she would have preferred if it were for a weekend. I pushed for like up until the day before school starts back up, and negotiated to, 1 week. And so that's sort of been a negotiation since middle of November, but tickets were just bought a couple days ago. Dakota, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. Let's see
So
here.
on your screen, you should see a yellow background check question or prompt.
Hmm.
So start with that and add in whatever you want.
Other people sometimes find this quality about Alice annoying. She can get on a real tear with people where something very minor won't let go of the dispute. She's already won the argument. She's already shown somebody up. She's already expressed her annoyance with them, and she will just keep ragging on them because she can't win enough. I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I think that Alice is just standing up for herself in a way everybody should. We should all be more like Alice. I know I want to be more like Alice. And when somebody is a dick to me, I wouldn't mind just going off on them. Not just it's like, you know how somebody will have a quick little argument with someone, or they'll do something and it bugs them, and then you say something back, you're like, "Hey, don't be an ass." Something like that. Well, Alice is just every so often, it's just she gets her energy together in a way that is just really, I think it's admirable. I mean, some people just need to be kicked down a peg or two, and she is not afraid to do it. I've seen her do it with all kinds of people, and I like it. I appreciate it. I actually respect it.
I've got a question about Dakota. What is Dakota's favorite color, and what does she have that is that color?
She likes
Okay.
gold, not the metal, the color. She has a hoodie,
Well worn, I assume.
well worn, and it's just the color. It's not like it's got sparkles on it or anything. It's just gold
Yeah.
color.
Who gave that to her?
She actually, her mom basically got it on a discount. Her mom works at this gift shop part time, and the place almost, it's basically, you see more flies fly in the front door than customers. And this hoodie had been here for a while, and a couple of years ago, I mean, mom's always worried about, oh, you're a growing girl, you're going to outgrow everything. But this time it's like, nah, you'll probably be able to keep this on longer. You'll grow into this. She doesn't, Dakota does not mind that it's kind of big on her, because it's like, well, yeah, I am going to grow into it a little bit more. So why not? 10th grade, give it another year or two, and before you know it. Besides, I like it loose anyway, and it's the right color. And mom gave it to me.
Jack, Julia, what else do you know about Dakota?
Yeah, did Dakota grow up in this town or did she move here?
Dakota grew up in this town. Her dad works for the Department of Water and Power. He's a blue collar guy. Grandma was the first generation to live here, and she's dad's mom, and she lives with us. She's very ill. She's a very sick old lady. I really feel, as Dakota, like I'm never going anywhere else. This is it. This is where I am.
Um, Sorry if I missed you saying this, but when did you guys become friends? Like, have you been best friends for like a long time? Is this kind of like a newer best friendship?
I talked to Alice a couple of times in middle school, but we really didn't get to know each other until we got into the high school. And it really is a lot about the skating. I like skating. The thing is, Alice is like a kind of a better version of me to me. She's someone I admire, and I was so surprised that she would want to hang out with me. There's not that many girls who go to the skate park or anything like that, and she didn't think my plans for the future were stupid. So yeah, yeah, it's been a couple of years. We're very close, I think.
Real quick,
Yeah,
have
yeah, go
you
ahead.
and Alice gotten in like a big fight before?
Oh, you don't always get on with your friends. She has this thing. Alice doesn't really, okay, I shouldn't tell this, but she doesn't really like weed, and I do. And she really kicked my ass about it once, so I don't smoke in front of her. I mean, I smoke, believe me. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that around school, but she never sees it. So, that big tear that she goes off when she's really pissed at somebody, she went on one with me, and it's cool. It's good. I understand. She's my friend. She loves me. She knows what she wants, me to be like. And, like I say, I respect her.
Have you guys had any, or I guess, how is your relationship the last couple weeks? I know finals are always stressful.
Mm.
Have you guys gotten along recently?
Yeah. We did get together. I've been really busy ever since Thanksgiving. Um, Grandma's been really sick, and mom and dad, they're just kind of resigned to each other and everything, and they've been really tense with each other. I've been staying home. I mean, I'm not doing anything. I was just staying home to stay home, to just to be there, to be someone they could both talk to without having to talk to each other, if you know what I mean. They, you know, grandma's not really there to talk to. They could watch TV or something, but somebody's got to help with dinner and stuff. Anyway, but I did make time to see Alice in the last couple of weeks. We did get together, and
Okay, I want to skip over Jack and go to Julia, if that's okay. Julia is the secret girlfriend. I'll let you decide how secret that is. Are the two of you out to us, out to school, and it's just a secret from your family? Or out to family, and it's just a secret from the school?
So I
Uh,
think Julia she's kind of like the quote unquote opposite of Dakota. So she was really good friends with Alice when they were younger. They actually live on the same street, but as kids grow, um, they find different interests, so to speak. So Julia's more of like that sporty personality. She plays softball. She's not like a jock like with the cheerleaders and the football people. Like she's not that cool. Um, but she's not. She's a little too cool to fit in with the skater friends. But she really enjoys being Alice's friend and holding on to that kind of foundational friendship that they had when they were younger. Living on the same street, they maintained a unique kind of friendship. I always feel like you're really good friends with your neighbors or something when you're kids, because it's like how you play. When you're little, Julia kind of confessed to Alice, like right at the beginning of high school, that she really liked her more than a friend. And, even though they weren't super close anymore, like she really misses her, and which is they were closer. So Alice has tried to bring her, work on that relationship a little bit more. Julia's parents, they're cool, they're progressive, they're not like weird or judgy or anything, but it's just a weird thing to be a high schooler and try to navigate your identity. So Julia's very choosy about who she is out to, and she's very protective of that. So things she hasn't quite really told you guys that she's dating Alice in some capacity. You guys know that like Julia hasn't had a boyfriend. Maybe y'all have your suspicions, but otherwise she's trying to keep it on the down low.
okay. When you told Alice your feelings about her, what was her response? And when did you two actually start going out, however that looks?
Yeah, so it was like kind of the summer before freshman year of high school, because we're juniors, right? Sophomores.
Sophomore?
So it's been about a year and a half ish since I told Alice how I was feeling. I think at first Alice was like, okay, like I don't know. Like thank you so much for trusting me and telling me, but like I don't know if I feel the same. She did kind of tell Julia that, she did miss being friends with her, like how they were when they were younger. So, she did want to work on that friendship again, but, she was really unsure about kind of quote unquote starting a relationship or dating or being out or anything like that. I think I think Julia is maybe more attached to that label than Alice is. Wasn't one of the characters potentially her ex-boyfriend, so there was like some tension with that. But yeah, I think
What
Julie is also probably just as like confused. Maybe she's just in denial about the situation. This is Julia's first real relationship. Not only is that hard to navigate, but she's also like trying to keep it secret because she's queer, and that's hard when you're 15 years old.
yeah.
What was the instance with the ex?
So I guess Julia can know. Julia knows what happened because she was hanging out on her front porch one day, and Alice kind of walked by, and Julia tried to get her attention, and Alice was really upset, and so Julia ran down the street to catch her and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she was like, we just got in a big fight. I think we're just gonna have to break up. Julia kind of took that as her opportunity to be, a good shoulder to cry on for her and maybe show up for Alice in a way that people haven't shown up for Alice in a minute. This is like Julia's olive branch to Alice. And I'd say that was probably 3 months, middle of the summer before high school. So it would have been before Julia had her confession to Alice.
Richard, do you have a question for Julia?
Julia, what did you and Alice most like doing together? Seeing as everything you did together that was really going to be, I mean, your best time has to be kept away from all of us, everyone. So, what did you do together?
We have in my backyard, my family has like, one of those kids tree houses that you outgrow when you're like in middle school. But, we live on the same street. So, if we're all hanging out together in a group and we're all leaving, Alice and I would walk home together and, maybe she would just come to my house for 30 minutes to an hour or, she knows the gate code to get into the backyard. So sometimes we just text each other secretly and we're like, meet you at the tree house. It's really more of like emotional, like psychological relationship versus like hot and heavy physical.
Sure, I don't mean anything like that. I'm not trying to pry about that. I was just like, I mean, from my point of view as Dakota, I knew Alice as being someone who, I mean, we did stuff. We were active. I can't imagine her having a quiet side that she just sits with someone and they just quietly talk to each other by a fire or something. That's crazy. What kind of person brings that out? And this is Alice. This is Alice, dude. Alice isn't like that.
Like, like that's where like Julia and Alice are really different because Julia's like really in sports. And like not to say that skating isn't a sport, because it is, but
Totally a
it's a
sport.
different kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Skating is about individuals. We're not all on a team.
No referee, no
Yeah.
captain.
No rules.
Yeah.
Actually, I had one more question. From the perspective of Alice, how do you think in the perspective of Julia, how do you think Alice would feel about her relationship coming to light? Like, how do you think she might deal with that?
So like I mentioned, Julia's definitely a little bit more attached to the idea of quote unquote being in a relationship than Alice is. So I think Julia would be excited if Alice acknowledged that relationship, whether or not it was out publicly, but like any kind of little morsel that Alice gives to Julia of like acknowledgement, like she really latches onto that. She's like, okay, like I'm not the only one feeling this, whether or not, you're 100% in it, if as long as you acknowledge it, yes, I feel something, then Julia's excited about that. So I think she would be nervous for it to come out because that's a big thing to reveal about yourself to anyone, let alone your whole community of school peers and parents and whoever else, sports community. If it was going to come out and Alice was going to acknowledge it, Julia would be very happy about that.
Okay, let's hear a bit of Jack, the older brother.
All right. Alice and Jack grew up around here and they had a pretty unbreakable bond. Incredibly close. Everyone knew it. And they forged through shared struggle and sacrifices. Several years ago, their dad and their mother have separated. Their dad is no longer in the picture. And because of that, it kind of forced them into like a premature adulthood and kind of leave behind the carefree days of childhood. So they grew very, very close together early on. Their kinship grew through strong as they supported their mother. However, during the past few years, especially this past year, there's been tension in their relationship that Jack has noticed, where they're growing a little bit more distant from each other. It'd be small little annoyances where Jack would storm off or Alice would storm off. And now, as of recently, they're getting into large yelling fights. He's kind of grappling with that as he is almost about to leave for college as well. It's almost like as he is about to leave, all this turmoil is coming up again, and that's where the relationship is at this current time.
Well, since Dakota considers herself to be Alice's best friend, she's come around to the the house a lot and has run into Jack many times. Naturally, her big brother has got to be kind of cool, but also, you know, has to be messed with for because that's just good-natured fun. How what is Jack can't just be a reflection of Alice and parents. What does Jack want to do next? What's Jack's plan for college? What's the major? What's the goal?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Jack is almost like the polar opposite, honestly, of Alice. Despite their differences, they were really close as youngin, but they really went different directions as they aged. He's really trying to shoot for the Ivy Leagues or really like prestigious colleges, particularly in the Northeast. He's also trying to go, but he has the GPA and the test scores and everything and clubs to prove it. He's really opposite of his sister, really into school life. He studies a lot. He has extracurricular activity. And lately, he's been really pushing himself to get into those prestigious colleges as much as he can. He's bending over backwards. He hasn't really had time for himself or his sister or his mom as of lately. It's been school and him, and that's where he's putting in all his attention. Let's just say he dreams of becoming an actuarian.
Whenever that is brought up for if
He wants
Dakota's
he
always
wants
like, my future husband's going to be an actuarian. Ooh.
oh gosh.
Did I remember correctly that Charlie is a tutor or they met through tutoring?
Yeah, biology.
So my question would be, did Jack maybe use Charlie's tutoring connections at all to get into for like application help or, SAT prep or anything like that?
Um, you know what? I think Charlie and him have a good, okay bond. He knows her as someone who helped his sister bring up his grades. So I think he would ask in passing what she might think about his college applications or his essays or what her thoughts were on certain subjects that he was in and how he can improve. I think with college applications, he's so targeted and really want to ask the experts, really want to get that external like pay for it out of his pocket kind of thing, college help. But he probably would touch base with Charlie in passing, so maybe not like a tutor, but definitely a good solid help.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Has Jack ever given any thought to Alice's social life? Boyfriends, things like that? Or just no time to even wonder about anything like that?
Actually, yes. Jack has some feeling towards some of who Alice hangs out with. In some, he has positive feelings towards, and some negative. He kind of questions sometimes why Alice would hang out with one particular group of people and why not the other. He really projects and really wants to see Alice improve, and it's frustrating for him as a older brother to see her struggle in school. And he thinks that it's kind of these external influences that are affecting that, like her social friends or even skating. Even though it's a fun hobby, he kind of is like, well, why aren't you spending more time studying? You can study with me. Why aren't you doing
Hmm.
this?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm gonna have to ask. if Dakota had, after having been chewed out by Alice over the weed thing, come up to Jack real quietly and said, "Hey, boyfriend, want to smoke some weed with me?" What would his reaction have been?
Um, Jack would be pissed. He is
Oh,
a dare boy, you know, DARE. He's a no drugs,
yes.
no alcohol,
Runs
very
in the
strict.
family.
And the fact that you even asked him, he's appalled, and he's like, "Why is Alice even hanging out with you?
Oh,
How
come
dare
on.
you?"
He would definitely
Uh,
laugh.
Oh, so we will get back to the voicemail in secret later, but everyone click to the top, that third button, Assign Relationships. So you'll see the other three of us highlighted, along with two potential relationships that you're going to assign to one of the other people, one person for each, and then we're going to go around and sort of explain what that is. I know how you really feel about Alice, and we've never gotten along. I think Charlie feels like she and Julia haven't ever really gotten along. So I'm gonna take the Julia picture and drag it down to that. But Charlie feels like there's this disconnect. Julia, what are your two relationships?
I have, we used to be best friends, and you know a secret about me that I don't want shared, which is very fitting. Um, I think, do we have to pick someone for both, or is it
It should be
optional?
one for each.
I think Charlie probably knows something about me since that's why we have not gotten along.
Yeah.
And Julia and Dakota used to be best friends. Maybe like in middle school they were best friends.
Do you want to give me a secret to know privately? Do you want me to come up with one, or do you want to do it publicly?
Well, so I have a secret and I don't know if it ties to
No,
this
that'll be
secret or
something
if it's
different,
a different
probably.
secret. Okay. Um, I'll let you come up with one.
Okay. So if you're gonna have been friends with Dakota in the past, tell us a little more about what that was like.
So this is before Dakota and Alice are really good friends now. And it was kind of after Alice and I were really good friends when we were younger. So it's kind of like this bridge friendship between me and Dakota. And maybe that's how like we all ended up in the same circle. It's because we kind of had these little bridge friendships. If Alice is like the center of the wheel, maybe like Dakota and I are spokes that are next to each other. This is maybe before Julia really got into sports. So she was hanging out more with Dakota. And part of the reason that they kind of stopped being best friends is, in order to go out for the high school team, Julia had to spend a lot of time practicing and, doing club sports. And her dad got her like a private help her like with batting for the softball team. So um, she didn't have a lot of free time kind of in those middle school summers because she was busy like training and working up for going out for the softball team when she got to high school. So it really put a strain on her and Dakota's friendship. Maybe that's why Dakota and Alice started their friendship.
I want to add something. I did try to do it, but I kind of suck at actual sports. So, yeah, actual sports suck. Skating rules. You 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 go be a giant nerd with the sports geek. Have fun winning.
And Julia, and just like a note, Julia doesn't have any ill like feelings about not being friends with like best friends with Dakota anymore. Like Julia's totally fine with that. She still thinks Dakota is really cool and she's not upset that, her and Alice are closer. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
Julia has her own thing going on and that's cool.
Richard, what are your relationships. Who do you want to assign one of those to?
I think this is probably really one-sided, but you've always been there for me, Jack. And it doesn't even really entirely make sense. It's just sort of an emotional rock thing. I mean, yeah, there's all the fake flirting jokes and stuff, but at least she doesn't play the rat game with him, which of course is what she and Alice called Rat's Your Boyfriend, about whoever they wanted to make fun of when they were with each other. But she's like, apart from a couple of times that Jack has gotten into this really fatherly, stern, you shouldn't be smoking pot with your friends stuff, which, is silly to her. She's like, but yeah, he's a rock. He's solid. He's always there. He's what a man should be like, not like dad. I can see why mom's so disappointed with him. There's Jack. Jack's going places. So Jack's solid. Jack's always there. I don't think Jack's actually there for her, but she thinks of him as being there for her because Alice is always there for her.
Okay, Jack, are you aware of how Dakota feels?
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, yes, he is stern, and sometimes he questions Alice's decision. But I think at the end of the day, he kind of knows Dakota's family as well, and he is stern with them. But she's okay. He has more negative feeling towards someone else, like so.
Okay.
He's not the happiest with Dakota, but he has more negative feelings with other people. So,
Nice. Well, what are your relationships? Who
um,
do you want to assign to one of those?
I don't think you like me, and I'm gonna actually put Julia there. And the reason why is because although he's his feelings towards Dakota is like, man, he notices that Alice has been really, really fighting lately. And he also notices that she's been hanging out with this Julia girl a lot more in the past several months or a few months. And he started to take a notice of that. And he also knows that she's like the popular girl. She's more of a sporty girl and he's you know it's kind of goofy too, but he's like the polar opposite of that. So he's maybe thinking, like, what? Why is she hanging out with Alice? How is she influencing her? Like, I don't think I would like her, and I don't think she would like me.
Julia, do you notice that he feels this way?
Julia doesn't really like Julia is an only child, so she just kind of thinks that like that's how all siblings are, especially like because he's the older brother. So like of course his younger sibling and her friends are not cool. Even though like he's like a nerd, like he's definitively not cool. But like it's like Julia's understanding of like sibling relationships is like this is totally normal. So like she doesn't pick up on him kind of singling her out specifically for anything. She just thinks, oh, he just doesn't like me because I'm his little sister's friend, and that's not cool for a big brother and a little sister to get along.
Okay. So, Jack, what was your other relationship?
I've always wanted you to be my friend, and that's what Charlie. He likes Charlie a lot.
Okay.
I mean, he's a good tutor, good, solid. I would say like a passing friend, like an acquaintance or a friend. They know each other.
Yeah,
Um,
fellow
s-
tutor
fellow
program
tutor
member.
program. Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, then I think I will assign my last one to Jack. I know how you really feel about Alice. The big blow-ups that you've had have been big in the moment and at home and when they've happened. But by the time you see me next, actually, no. I haven't been around for these ones because those big ones are recent. So I take that back. So I think I do know how you feel about Alice, and maybe had I been here for those big fights, I'd question it. But no, I think I know that you care about her, want what's best for her. Is there another relationship for Dakota?
Yes, there is. Alice has forgiven you for something, but I haven't. Yeah, I like Julia, but get this. Something happened that I I am just amazed at. So I don't know what it was that happened. Julia and Alice were hanging out, and a bunch of us were together, and they came in, and you know, they were just having a fight. And I was like, okay, cool. Alice was on one of her tears, like I say, where she'll just go off on you and off on you and off on you. And I don't know. It just got really weird. Julia shut her down in front of everybody. It was humiliating. I was humiliated for Alice, and Alice just let it happen. I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, what is this? You're Alice. You, I used to be friends with you. Julia she can't do that. She can't just shut you down. But every time I've brought it up and said, "Oh, come on, you can't let this stand, can you? Come on, come on." She's like, "Coda, just let it go." What in the world? I do not understand it. I don't get it at all. But I'm not okay with it. I seriously at least want an apology from Julia to Alice. I really, really do, because I know you don't get to do that. I didn't, you don't.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the like exact scenario?
That's the weird thing. I'm not 100% sure what it was that they were having an argument about. I was there, a bunch of us were hanging out, and Julia and Alice, I think Julia was just tagging along, but they were having some kind of a fight. And it flared up again in front of all of us, and Alice was like, okay. I mean, and I was really looking forward to it. She was going to give Julia just this wonderful talking to. And I had my popcorn ready, metaphorically speaking. And she starts in on it, and Julia just said, I don't know what she said. She just leaned in and said something really quietly to Alice, and Alice just stops. And I'm just sitting there, dude, what the fuck? What is this?
Mm.
What the fuck? And I could never get Alice to tell me what was going on. I don't know what the fight was. She wouldn't tell me. She wouldn't tell me what it was that was said. She wouldn't tell me anything. Look, Alice is Alice. She can, we're best friends. She can keep some things to herself if she wants to, but no, Julia, you cannot, you, no, that was humiliating. People were looking. People heard this. This was not cool. Okay. I mean, just not cool. And I don't know what it was, but I am not okay with this. I mean, you and I are cool. Yeah, but seriously, we will have words sometime. We will. I don't like it.
Interesting.
So we have two two sections left here: the hunches and evidence, and then the game proper. Let's take a 5-minute break. It is half past, so 25 till the hour. We'll see you back then. Okay, welcome back. So we have hunches and evidence world building, where we are going to come up with a little bit about who these 5 suspects are, what makes these interesting NPCs, interesting characters who have a reason to want Alice missing. One of these people did it. Took Alice to one of these places. So we have David Nelson, the popular kid, Bria Brown, the school bully, CJ Wallace, the creeper, Mr. Halvert, the history teacher, and Ryan Groggins, Alice's ex-boyfriend. One of those people is responsible for Alice being missing. And the 5 places are the lighthouse in the Howling Sea Cliffs, the old barn on Cambridge Street, the Callisto Rivers State Park, the Silent Falls train station, and the Dripping Dagger nightclub. Who are these people? What are these places? Do any of them spark interest in
Yes,
any of you? Yeah? Which one?
yes. I'm coming back to the state park. It's sort of important to Dakota. She has a vague interest in kayaking and ambition to be a river guide at the park. See, there's these
Yeah.
people who come from out of town all year round to come kayaking in those rivers, but they've got money, but they're all older. They're old people, like in their 30s and stuff, and they do stuff there, and even in cold weather, they even go winter kayaking there, and they hang out and party by the rivers and stuff. And when kids go out there, you shouldn't go near them. You just don't. It's just not a thing you do because well, they're old anyway.
Nice. So, what makes the state park particularly creepy, unique to Silent Falls?
Well, you get people going in and out of the state park all the time who go there to, hang out or hike or something. And I mean, more people visit the state park than visit Silent Falls. They come from everywhere. They could go anywhere. And, some of them came here to have a real good time they can't have at home. Before I went into school, there was this girl who they say left with some campers one year and never came back. I mean,
Mm,
they found out later that she'd gone somewhere else and lived with them or something, but that's just the story you hear.
yeah,
I
okay.
mean, it's not like really bad places where there's been murders, right? I mean,
Okay, nice. Another place, a suspect.
CJ Wallace. Julia got a text message a few days ago, and it was like an unknown number, like a burner phone number. It was just like a picture that someone had taken of her and Alice in the treehouse. The angle from which the picture is taken is very, you were specifically watching us. Like that's very, why would you be in that position to take that picture of us? Like
So,
very clearly this is like targeted to be like, hey, I know about you guys. And
okay,
Julia like doesn't know what to do about it. She doesn't know if she should tell you guys, she hasn't fully come out to you guys yet, so she doesn't know if she can trust you with this information. He might be the person that is texting her or not.
I like it. The angle that the shot was taken, uh, how do you know that it was sort of directed at you? Was it like on the height of the treehouse? So it's like clearly not someone, like bird watching from the ground.
Right. So like they clearly had, and like, it's Julie doesn't know a lot about photography, but she's assuming it was like a long frame kind of lens, like that
Okay.
telescopic. Like
Yeah.
someone very clearly was watching us, and the message that Julie gets from this image is, I know about you guys. You're not hiding back here in your backyard. You're not safe from me. I see you.
Can I ask a quick
Excellent.
question? For CJ Wallace, have you heard or has he done anything in the past that might also help you allude that it's him doing it as well?
Do you want to throw something out there?
Sure, I guess
Uh,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go for it.
He is a known blackmailer in the past. He has blackmailed a couple other students about like kids drinking above age and stuff, or like kicking them out of the football team, things like that. So there's a rumor about him like that going around.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't say like photos of them underage at the Dripping Dagger, because that's one thing we don't want to do is tie the suspects and locations together too much. These are going to come up randomly, and if like David Nelson Poplar Kid owned the old barn on Cambridge Street and knew that no one was ever there, well, if he were to kidnap Alice, that's totally where he'd take her. Why is she at the train station? Okay.
Mr. Halvert, history professor,
Yeah.
he sent me a fucking dick pic.
Oh,
He swore it was
Let
by accident.
I want to X card that.
All right.
No.
Okay. Mr. Halvert seems like he's never going to be into any of the stuff that most of the guys around here are into, but he's got a lot of guns.
ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's weird how much he talks about it sometimes.
He goes off on long spiels when discussing like Civil War era firearms and
And
just how
Vietnam
how effective the guns in World War I, World War II were.
and Afghanistan all the
Yeah.
time. It's like the key to history. That's his thing.
I have
Uh,
one about the
yeah.
lighthouse. The lighthouse on the Howling Sea Cliffs is a little, almost like a prank location for high school kids to go to because there is a rumor that in the 70s there was a string of disappearances around this lighthouse. And it's a very popular destination for kids to be daring each other to go in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Julia knows that, some shit went down with Ryan and
Mhm.
Alice. Like they didn't obviously end amicably, so she doesn't really know what exactly happened, but grudges can last a long time, so who knows?
May seem like forever in high school. What is a text that he sent Alice that she was just really upset by and showed you uh, to get off her chest? Like he's clearly upset about the way things ended.
I think maybe something about, oh gosh, I don't know.
Mm.
If anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to jump.
It didn't end amicably. There was a text that he sent Alice that she wanted to show Julia to sort of like get off her chest.
You up?
What?
I'm just kidding. Oh,
Um,
terrible. Oh, man.
I think maybe it's like obviously it would have to be a little bit of like more threatening in order for Alice to probably share it with Julia. Maybe just kind of like you're really gonna regret breaking up with me. Like
Oh,
now's your chance to forgive me so we can just get back together and forget everything happened. But like you know,
yeah. Like,
I
like a
if you
really
now's
don't
your
give me a
very
chance.
bad
second
all.
chance. Oh,
Yeah.
I
that's
want.
terrible.
I wonder about is whether it's got anything to do with another text I saw that he sent to Alice. She didn't want me to see it, but it said he said I'm not going to share you with anybody else. I was like, who is he going to share you with? And she just laughed, and I laughed too because it's stupid.
Okay, I like it.
The Dripping Dagger nightclub. It's only managed locally. It's actually owned by a rich Mormon family in Utah, and nobody knows how it makes enough money to stay open.
Can I add to that actually? Because I think
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
interesting. There's a lot of seedy people around the nightclub. I guess that was maybe alluded, but I don't know.
No,
I
Mm,
feel
it's
like the like oh what's his name David and Ryan they definitely have fake IDs and are getting in
Oh,
there. Maybe even Bria too.
mhm.
so they don't card well.
Maybe
Okay.
intentionally.
Yeah, I mean you got to make money somehow. But
Yeah,
Mormons don't drink. So like,
or anything.
yeah,
But if you're not doing it
weird.
yourself, it's right. It's okay then, right?
I don't know. Okay. Oh, we've got David and Bria,
can I
the
have
old
something
barn.
for
Yeah.
David Nelson? So it's been out, and let's um somehow Alice got a word that David Nelson is a nepo baby.
Oh, what?
A like someone who had a rich affluent family and then is getting set up to have a rich affluent life or a more privileged life.
The
He's a
nepotism.
Yeah.
nepotism.
Okay.
Everyone knows that he comes from an affluent life, but that particular name rubs him the wrong way a lot. His pride is hurt. And one time he overheard Alice talk about it, and even though Alice is pretty um, introverted, he kind of just lost it on her and targeted her unfairly once. Um, and everyone in the school kind of found out about that because it was so out of nowhere and uncharacteristic, and it was just an odd thing for David to exhibit. So now people feel weird a little bit around him.
Did you know
I
what
like
else
it.
is weird about that? My
Yeah.
dad works for the power company, and I think he found out about the family that owns the dripping dagger, and I think their name's Nelson.
So I think Bria got oh huh. Alice just tells people like it is. Gives them a good dressing down when they need it. And I think Bria sees that as a threat. She has clawed her way to the top of uh, her social ladder uh, by bullying people. And she is sort of afraid that Alice is going to undermine that. And I think this thing that happened with David recently, just the way everyone's been acting weird around him so much longer after the fact, that's like more powerful than the bullying that she's done has been. I think she's a little intimidated by Alice.
Was sorry, I think I missed this. Was Alice targeted by her, or is she just known that Alice can stand up for herself, and that's why she
Uh,
is intimidated?
as Dakota was describing Alice, like Alice, it's very publicly, clearly willing to dress someone down as needed.
Mm.
Something that, you know, Dakota's fine with, but other people find, a bit aggravating about Alice. And I think Bria's just sort of got these blinders on. Like, she is a bully. And so what Alice did to David must be this really, she must be bullying him too, because that's what people do. That's why they yell at people and are mad.
Makes
So
sense.
I think she's
I have something for the train station,
okay.
which is really just kind of basic. It's like, it's more of like a historical thing. So,
Yeah.
they only run like on holidays or like special events. So, like, this
Oh, huh.
random time, like when school is on winter break, like no one's going to be there. They aren't really gearing up for their Christmas event yet. Like, it's going to be pretty sparsely populated over there, at least for a few more days until they start gearing up for their next big event. So, which, that's not a secret around town. So,
Yeah.
people know that like the train station is kind of hit or miss on big events.
So it's not an operable train station, they just use it for like event space?
I mean, so they'll do like a holiday train or like, yeah, like an event venue or something, or they'll do like a holiday market. Um, like it's still operable, but not for like a daily commuter or not necessarily for like frequent
Okay.
tourist
So it's
people.
not
Like it's
broken down, but it's not
right,
you know, a regular transportation route.
right.
Yeah.
The historical
Okay.
society has a very like full grip on that. Like they're very protective of it.
I like it.
You know, it is broken down. It's that old barn on Cambridge Street. That is what it
Mm-hmm.
says, right?
Yes.
And, speaking of history, okay, CJ, the creeper? When we
Mm-hmm.
were all little kids, way back when in elementary school, he was out of school for about 8 months. And you hear all kinds of stories about it. But the only one I'm sure of is what my mom told me, which is that he we were all like fourth, fifth grade. He climbed on top of the old barn and jumped off, and he got hurt. I mean, right up to the very top and jumped off. I mean, there was nothing. He wasn't going to land in snow or straw or anything. He just took a nosedive. It's really
Okay.
weird.
Kids do stupid things.
Yeah.
Can I add
Yeah.
on to the old barn?
Yeah.
Um, I think that CJ still hangs around, or you don't want you don't want the suspects hanging onto locations, right?
Not so much, yeah.
Okay, in the current time at least. Okay.
Right.
Um, so I'll just say, now it's like becoming popular to be like nature's lover's lane kind of thing, like where kids hang out. And it's not quite there yet, but it's getting there kind of thing. So it's kind of weird to have this history. CJ jumped off the barn roof. Is it roof?
Yeah.
It's the peak of the roof. It's
Peak?
really
Oh my.
tall, the very
Mm.
top. You could see there was nothing to stop him.
You can see the hayloft in the picture there. That's
Yeah, but he's like on top of the very top of the
yeah.
roof and just took a run and jumped off. That's what I heard. That's what mom told me. I don't
Oh.
know if it's true.
So
Mm.
does the old barn, is there a string of events like that? Uh, does it have a history of people doing, stupid things or acting weirdly?
Hmm.
Like CJ is, uh, he lived. He's not paralyzed.
No, that's true. But maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you know, sometimes he's just I mean, I don't like him either, but sometimes he seems really depressed. I don't know. Mom says his family's
Okay.
really screwed up.
So if the old barn is sort of on its way to becoming Lover's Lane from this unfortunate history, trying to think if there's anything else to.
I think it'd be cool if there was like a whole bunch of weird stuff going on over there. Like, there's like, I don't know. I don't want to be too creepy, but like dead birds or like weird occurrences, and then it's just popularizing into like a weird kid spot.
Yeah,
I,
okay, yeah. Dead birds and animals around it. Yeah, that's creepy.
People are starting like occult rumors, like
oh,
aliens come there, or you know, all the conspiracy theories center around the barn. Everyone's got their own conspiracy theory about the barn.
All I know is CJ also used to, like pull the wings off of flies and he liked to put little Hail Satans on his notebooks. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
let me. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and you'd think that would
It-
make somebody kind of cool, the Hail Satan stuff, but no.
I actually have a clarification question for Ryan Ryan Goggins. So
yeah,
I wrote, he sent a threatening text to Alice, alluding he's not over her, that Alice has shared to Julia. I don't know if we figured out what he alluded to, like what he had over her. Um, do we know, or do we just want to leave it as is? If,
uh,
uh,
let's
What
leave
did
it as
Ryan
is.
have over Alice?
Uh, I'm not going to share with anybody else. Um, Now's your chance to forgive me. That may come up later, and we can let
oh, okay.
whoever draws that flesh it out if it does.
And
Uh,
for the
I think
game, we need to allude to our own secret, right?
yeah.
Um, okay. I'm just gonna put this in there because I might have a hard time otherwise.
Okay.
Um, Jack has been going to the old barn as of lately, recently, and you guys might have seen him around alone. But he's kind of like shuffling out and sneaking about.
I think that's all of them. David Nelson, Alice called him a nepo baby. He targeted her, and people feel weird about him. Dakota's dad knows that the Dripping Tiger is also owned by another Nelson family. Bria is threatened by Alice. CJ texted Julia that photo from a burner phone, pulled the wings off flies as a little kid, jumped off the barn. Mr. Halvert has lots of guns. They're the key to history. Talks about them incessantly. Alice and Ryan didn't end amicably. Now's your chance to forgive me. You'll regret breaking up with me. Okay. The Lighthouse, the place for pranks, disappearances in the 70s, daring people to go there at midnight. The Old Barn, as if someone's trying to, rebrand it. It's not yet Lover's Lane. There's still dead birds and animals dropping all around it after rumors of occult things or alien activity. Jack's been around there recently on his own. The state park, kids' party spot, heavy tourist activity there, kayaking, more visitors than to Silent Falls. And the folks there, the old folks there, are to be stayed away from, old in their 30s. The train station only runs for special events. It's closed right now because the Historical Society is getting it ready for Christmas decorations. They're going to start that up middle of next week. And the Dripping Dagger is owned by a rich Mormon family in Utah and doesn't make enough to stay open. So how does it and why? I don't know. They don't card well at it. They're a bunch of seedy people who live there, who are seen around there a lot at least. Well, this is an interesting Silent Falls. I like it. So we are going to take a break, and if you haven't come up with a secret, now's going to be the time to do that. Okay, we are back and ready to jump into things. We are going to get into the 90 minutes of silent playing, just going to be via text. There's a soundtrack that's going to play. As we go down from 90 to 0, there are going to be cards that pop up with little prompts to respond to. Feed that into the chat somehow. And just a reminder, we can't be in the same location as one another at the same time. We have to avoid Alice's phone and car. And yeah, we're not going to know who or where until 20, 30 minutes before the end of the game. So throw out speculation and don't worry if it's going to end up being right or wrong, because we're going to all find out together later. Anything out of character, you can just put in parentheses. Starting game then. I am going to take the first song to write an opening chat to the group. Take the time that you need to read over your notes, think about your relationships, and get into character. And with that, 1, 3, 2, 1, start.
Went down to the river, washed my sins away. Praying, 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 praying for another day. I went down to that river, washed my sins for free. The devil's on the other bank, staring back at me. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man.
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sorry.
Another nail for me.
um,
I gotta look.
it is not registering my text. It's given this table flipping emoji thing instead. I'm gonna pause the game there. Let me try a different browser, maybe? Everything has been working so good so far.
I'm so glad it wasn't me because I was like, I refreshed. I was like, I don't know if this is part of it. I know what's happening.
I was like, wow, Charlie's really upset about something. What's going
on? I thought maybe it was like a fact that it was like a copy and paste issue, because when it pops up on my screen to start, there's like, here's the default message, you want to copy it and paste it in? Yes? Okay, great. And then I was going back and like editing it because my surprise instead of like plan. And so I wrote all this stuff out, and the end of the song comes, everyone's had time, I send the message, and it's this freaking table flipping emoji thing. Like, wait, what just happened? And so I sent something, I deleted that, and then just in parentheses, like, wait, did you get that message? And I send that, and I'm like, nope, more table flipping emoji. But I can see your text. Could anyone see my messages?
No.
No.
No?
I could see it removed, like it says message removed, so that wasn't like a
Okay.
table flip, but
And it did show that you were typing.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So the first message was copy and paste and then edit, and the next one was in parentheses, and the next one was just typed in without any punctuation. Okay. Let me start. Let me reload. Let me log in to another browser and use this URL. Okay, it can't log me in Safari. I think that might be because I've got an active game going here. Let me try clicking on stuff and seeing where I can change something. So do people see the way you can send a private message? The group message in the center is where that is, and on the left there's the option to send private messages.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I can send messages out of character and it doesn't come through as a table flipping. Yeah. And now I
Oh.
can send messages like normal.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, great. It looks like I can't like restart the timer at 90, so unfortunately it's going to be a weird delay, and things are going to be a bit not not as smooth as could have been, but that's okay. Okay, back back to the game we go. So for everyone on the stream, we're gonna start at like 84 minutes and 54 seconds.
When I'm knocking down heaven's door, I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. Pour me another drink, bartender, and light my cigarette. You ever seen a dead man talking? No, you haven't seen one yet. I'm a dead man walking. 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 I'm a dead man. I went down to that river, washed my sins for free. No one seemed to notice as I stared. I went down to that river to wash my sins away. I was thinking of you in that wedding gown. I went down to that water, I washed my sins away. The world faded away as I went down, 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 down. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man.
how's everyone doing? Harry?
Does she always die at the end?
No. No, she doesn't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
I felt that. Oh.
Yeah. Shake it out. Change your username back to your real name. Yeah. Okay.
Very powerful.
So how's everyone feeling?
I teared up a little bit, honestly. Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit it really hit. It's I mean, it's a little frustrating to not yet know what happened, or have any idea if I could know what happened.
Well, we're gonna narrate that now, yeah.
Okay.
But do people feel like they're ready to do that? we good here?
I'm good. I just was
Okay.
surprised that she died. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Me too.
didn't know dying was an option.
I
Good to
thought that
know.
was her talking. I was like, oh, we're about to find her. How naive. How naive.
No, that wasn't. Okay, so what loose ends do we need to tie up? The way the
Yes.
questions are presented on the screen online, you know, we'll get to them, but first, you know, let's wrap the story up.
So I just want to know the motive.
I was gonna say I feel like we didn't flush him out very good for him to be the killer. So
I still wasn't
yeah,
sure who
I'm
the
just
killer was.
I feel like,
David.
yeah, I'm just
It was
curious.
David. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's flesh him out. Let's, you know, make us a little more complete. Jack, you were there. Maybe you saw something about him.
There was just something different, like inhumane about him. Left. I'm assuming that Jack got a glimpse of him when he came back, where it was like
Yeah.
he wasn't even human. You know, his eyes were so dark. He was just not even fully. I don't know. There was just something very deeply dark about him. If anyone wants to add more context to that, please feel free. But I think I like the idea of him being just like this in nature, honestly. Just very ego driven, I guess.
I think he was probably also a sociopath. That really is part of what led him to be what he was. He seems like a harmless rich kid, which would be a nice contrast to what the dripping dagger actually was in my mind. Dripping dagger is harmless. The napkins with the scribbling are just people keeping tabs on the stuff that his cousins up in Utah, they just run booze and pornography and stuff through there so they can get it through without having to pay any taxes and stuff. You know, they move it up from California to Utah through the dripping dagger. It's just a front.
Okay.
That doesn't actually, no one would ever be hurt there.
But David doesn't know that.
No.
He kidnapped Alice and took her to the barn. It was a place with a creepy history, the dead animals and pentagrams. So if something were to happen to her there, as he intended, chalk it up to something else. But he showed her. She tried to do wrong by him. He wouldn't have it. Yeah, if you weren't able to get it out during the game, what was it now? Yeah.
I alluded to it from the very beginning.
Yeah?
I figured someone might sometime like confront me, and they never did. So I figured it just
Meh.
I'm not going to
Okay.
just hear it in the midst of this crisis. But yeah, the night before Alice went missing, she and Dakota went up to the park, to Callisto Park, and they ran across some of the kayak people, the creepy older people. Who are not creepy, they're just, they're party people. Everybody's seen the meme about you're at the bar and the couple at the end of the bar giving you that funny look. That's what they are. That's all they are. But Dakota got nervous, and Alice it was braver than Dakota, so she said, "No, I'm fine. I'm going to stay and party with the kayak people." And Dakota went home, and then that's it. And she's like, "Did the kayak people take her? Are the kayak people part of the cult?" All this stuff. Did I leave her to die? I mean, were we gonna both die? I don't know.
Wow, okay.
Well,
Um,
maybe that picture that Julia got was not from the creeper. Maybe it was from David all along, watching
Oh.
Alice.
oh, yeah.
Oh
Ooh,
my gosh. I
it's a burner.
imagine David was like the type who would have like a targeted list of people. And that's a hot take, but he's a creep,
Go with it.
Maybe Julia's next. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Alice and Jack had a fight, and Alice was actually very supportive of him, um,
Ugh.
which just hurts so much. Yeah, it's tough. So, um, Jack was seeing a man or boy named Adam, and obviously, it's not like a big deal in their family. Very accepting, and Alice kind of provided him that safe space to support him. But I think Charlie brought this up too. When you're kind of conflicted with sexuality and grappling at that, you don't want to always be confrontational with that. You want to just let it stew for a little bit, figure it out yourself. So he kind of blew up on
Yeah.
rightfully. Yeah, sucks super bad. Oh jeez.
Julia and Jack are going to be friends now, I think.
Yeah, we're besties.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I love that part of the role play where I was like, you know what, you're not so bad. I don't know, I felt like that in text. I was like, Julia, you're not so bad, and it was kind of sweet, but um,
Uh, well, that's good. What is something about your character or the game that you liked that you want to take with you and you know keep from this experience? And then next, what's something that you want to just get rid of and shed and be done with? I liked as Charlie that I was able to be useful despite being stuck. This time waiting for my bags, it was good to be able to actually have some way to help, like being able to do something. I wanna be able to do things to help people more. That's something I'd like to take with me and keep doing. Something I'd like to leave behind and just like not deal with anymore. Um, well, my friend's dying. Um, that's it's part of life though. Um, so maybe you know, I don't want to have to deal with not being ready for that.
I think
So
mine
what?
is similar
Yeah.
of
Okay.
probably just I think it's a little bit of both, keep and take of helping people, but then also maybe just not having this idea of not doing enough to help somebody. Did I not do could I have done more and then the outcome would have been different? probably not, but you'll play that game forever. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when it comes to Dakota, she's a hard one to want to take something from in a way. I mean, she's a theater major. She loves weed. Creating her, I know what her life ends up as. She's not going to leave Silent Falls. She's not going to become a river guide. She's going to end up working in the thrift store, and she's going to basically marry a guy a lot like her dad. And that's how things are going to be. And she's never going to forget this. Alice was the great hope of her life, and now she's gone. This was her hero, and her hero is dead. But and yeah, she was going to be really pissed when she finds out that Alice had a girlfriend and didn't tell her. But to take away from Dakota, I think a healthier way, if to find a healthier way to accept what is in life, what just is, and not fight so hard against every circumstance, to pick the battles better, because Dakota's going to give up on every battle ultimately. She wants someone else to do it for her, and that's never going to work. And I think the thing to leave behind really is to put just a little too much faith in someone besides yourself. Dakota, come on. as the person who played her and made her up, I know Alice couldn't be everything Dakota thought she was. That's impossible. And it wouldn't even be fair to Alice to ask her to be those things. But that's who Dakota is. And that's a thing not to do. Don't make people something they're not. So yeah, that's been a long lesson coming, and who knows, maybe I'll learn it sometime.
Maybe. Good to put it out there.
Yeah.
I think with Jack, he is, with time, happy to put behind all this trauma. It's not going to go away fully, as we all probably know. This sticks forever, but I think he's going to ease up with time on the self-loathing and guilt that he's probably going to be feeling during the aftermath. What he's going to take away is this collective group of people who also understands how he feels. And I think for as long as he can, at least, he's going to try to maintain that relationship, because no one else went through that like he did besides, Alice's group of friends. And with that being said, I think he's also going to learn from the nostalgia and memory of his sister to kind of let loose a little bit. He's a little bit traumatized, he's scared, but he also knows that life is short and he doesn't want to take that for granted. And he kind of learns to be, a little bit more adventurous like his sister. Maybe try new things little by little and not be so rigid in his thinking, and be open to, you know, connecting with his family and people in his community. He might not go to Stanford as he thought, or Ivy League or whatever, become an actuary. He's going to take it day by day.
Oh.
Julia's definitely going to be braver, and she's not going to be afraid to be herself anymore. And she's going to go to the skate park.
Good for her.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed, or at least I hope this was a good experience.
It was. Thank you.
It was, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
This was
Thank
such a cool, game presentation. Very
Yeah.
unique. I want to do it again. I want to know what other outcomes there
Oh my God.
are.
Like I said, more than 20 times, and it's just amazing all the time.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Is it? I have to ask.
Yeah.
Is it actually possible that there's something paranormal in this scenario? Because I didn't want there to be, so I was always pushing against that idea that the cult is real or that there's monsters or UFOs or something.
No, yeah. There are, it is not a part of the game. No.
Okay, good.
Yeah. There, in the real world, plenty of people who believe wholeheartedly in all of that. And, if those characters come through in here, that doesn't mean that it's true. Um, yeah, Alice may live or not. Things come out in, all sorts of different possible ways. Anytime someone got a prompt, that was one of like 3 different options that could have come up. So no, Alice is Missing is not inherently paranormal or supernatural or sci-fi, and it also changes depending on the characters that are played. It's a different game if the secret girlfriend isn't there, and there is absolutely no relationship part. It's a very different game if the older brother is there, and there is this sort of uh, grounding home part to it. Anything else people want to wrap up? Things they want to promote as positive experiences or just reinforce this was bad. I don't want to do it again.
I just want to say it was super
Yes.
fun, and thank you guys for the experience. Thank you, Morgan, again. Hope you guys have a wonderful night.
You're welcome. Anyone else have something they want to add?
No, this was awesome. I'm definitely gonna check this out again. Very cool. Glad I found it. I want to subject all my friends to it, but I don't think they'll play with me. So,
Well, send them my way. I will indoctrinate them, and then you'll have a pool of people to play with again.
amazing.
Well, thank you all for watching and participating, and have a good rest of the night.